we brought the hat back. Do I need the hat? No, because my hair is done. I did it yesterday. And if you watched my rest of the year TBR, did I add a title to that video? I don't think there's a title on that video. Fuck, dude. I thought I did, but now that I'm sitting here, well, now it has a freaking title after being up for almost 4 hours. Hi, hello, welcome and welcome back, Bookish Besties, to another video. As you can see by today's title, we are doing my mid-year book freakout tag. I am super excited to do this tag. I did not get to do one last year, considering I was in a giant ass slump and was not recording this time last year. This hair that is sticking out, thank you. Yeah, I didn't get to do one last year, so I'm super excited and happy that I get to do one this year. So we have a lot of books to talk about, not as much as my last video. So this one should go by much quicker, as long as I don't blab too much. But with that being said, let's get straight into the questions. I will leave them all down below. There are some questions that I did take out just because, one, I have not watched any book to TV/movie adaptations this year, and I think there's another one that I took out that I did not include. But for sure, I have not watched any book to movie/TV show adaptations this year. I watched Kitty Revelry at the end of 2025, not this year, so I'm not counting that one. But let's hop right into the questions. The first question is best book you've read so far this year. Heavenly Bodies by Imani Iriu. I feel like ever since I have read this book, I have not stopped talking about it here on the channel or even on my other social media, which is basically just TikTok mostly. And honestly, that's not shocking with how much I have thought about this book since reading it, how much I have picked this book up just to go look at certain tabs just to see what it is. Like, this book is my everything. This is top tier, god tier book for me. And I am putting off book two a little bit because if it lets me down, I will be kind of upset about it because this was a 6-star 5-star favorite book I read all year long, and we're 7 months into the year now, and this is still the best book I have read by far. Nothing has yet to beat this out, and I've read some really good books this year. I've read lots of high 4 and 5-star books, but this one just still stands out to me as the best book that I have read this so far this year. And it's shocking because going into this book, I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. I knew that I was going to like it. I did not know if I was going to love it or not, but I knew for sure that I was going to like this book. And then I read it. I started reading it and I got into it and I devoured it. I sure did. I devoured it so much so that I had to tab it on the first read through. And as I have said a million and one times, that's not something I do very often. But I have started doing it more often. Now that I'm looking at some books, I have started doing it a little bit more often. But this was the first book that I had fully tabbed all the way through without knowing it was a favorite book. This is insane to me. There's probably over 100, maybe close to 150 tabs in this book. So that says all you need to know about it because I'm deeply in love with this book and these characters and the writing and everything. And honestly, I don't know if I'm insane for this, but I feel like everything would be if we all just loved each other. And if you know, you know. But I am still excited to read book two and see where that book takes us. The next question is best sequel you've read so far, and that hands down another one that I did not need to think about when I was thinking about my answer, the book to fit these questions. The Oleander Sword by Thomas Shuri. This is the sequel to the Jasmine Throne, which I really loved last year in 2025. And there is no doubt in my mind that when I read this back in February that it helped me get out of the small slump that I was filing. Yes, this is a little bit slower moving than book one, but I still enjoyed it very heavily. The Jasmine Throne is definitely what made me realize that maybe diving into high and epic fantasy books is where I need to dive into when I want more thought to go into what I'm reading, because these are not just light, easy reads by any means necessary. I also realized that I need to read more sapphic and queer fantasy books because there is some top notch yearning in this. While the romance is not the forefront because it's not a romantasy, there is a romance subplot that we have throughout the series. I'm assuming it goes into book three. That would only makes sense. But we have a romance subplot where all the yearning that we get from our FMCs, Melina and Priya, they are some top-notch learners. That waterfall scene in the Jasmine Throne got me. But I also really love the plot. I love the multi POV because we have a lot of POVs in these books. We have 5 to 6 of them. This one has Priya, has Malini, it has whatever this character's name is. It's the multi POV and getting to see different scenes from different POVs. It's just, like I said, hands down, best sequel I've read so far this year. Now, there aren't a lot of sequels that I've read, considering I haven't really continued a lot of series, which is definitely going to take priority for the second half of this year. We'll get into that when my series catch up video goes up, which is like, I think the next video you're seeing, which will conclude my mid year like content stuff. But I digress. Best sequel, hands down. The next question is new author, whether that's new to me or a debut author. Would definitely for me be Bridget Kimmerer. She's the author of Warrior Princess Assassin, which I read in January, and then I have also read her The Fight of the Night series. I read the first 2 books in that trilogy, with the third book potentially being read in July. We'll see how that goes. I don't have Warrior Princess Assassin with me. It's actually at my desk at work. For on our slower days, I can annotate it because I do want to have that book fully annotated and tabbed by the time the sequel comes out. I do need to continue on with that. I just haven't been keeping up with that. But I digress. Warrior Princess Assassin is what introduced me to Bridget Kimmerer, and I was like, oh, I'm in love with her writing. And then I read Before the Night, and I was like, oh, I love this too. And then I continued on to Defend the God, and I was like, leave it out there. I will literally buy anything this woman writes. I have yet to finish the Night series by her, and I have yet to read anything else besides those 2 series, this one and the other series by her. But I know she has 2 other series that I can read, so I have plenty to read from her from the rest of the year. And later on, we have Miss Kimmerer come up again for a question with her sequel for this book. But we'll get to there when we get there. But I love her writing style. I love her characterization. I love her plotting. I love the romances feel. I don't even know. Don't even get me started on this one because have you ever wanted a story where you and your girlfriend want another boyfriend and then you and him are also boyfriends and then that's literally what this is. It's Warrior Princess Assassin. It's literally the 3 of them. And it's so good. I can't even describe it to you. Bridget Kimmerer has come in and taken over my year, low key. I really want to read more by her, and I really need to hop on reading more by her. But I want to wait until I finish this for the day before I start her other series because her other series is interconnected with another one of her series. So she has 2 series that interconnect. They're set in the same world. So that's my next venture after I finish the story of the day. But then I'll be caught up and I'll have nothing else to read. So I'm kind of putting it off because I love her writing style. The next one is Biggest Disappointment. And this book, hands down, no thoughts about it. Another one that was no thoughts, head empty. Knew what it was. Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields. This is one that I had heard such good things about. And then it tremendously let me down. I don't know whether it was because I just listened to the audiobook. I did not have the ebook. I was reading this while I was cleaning one weekend, and I pretty much listened to it over a 2-day period, or maybe even a whole 1-day period. I really don't remember. I just do remember reading this while I was cleaning and thinking, what the fuck is going on? There are moments where I just had to pause and listen to the audiobook and be like, what have I gotten myself into? Because I was not liking the book. I gave this book a 2-star. In reality, this book is a 1-star, but it solely got another star simply for the fact that I finished it. Because I thought about doing it. Thinking about my best friend, no, wait till finish it. See if it turns out better by the end. If you like the ending was worse. The ending was so much worse than I could have imagined it ever being. And I talked about this in another video of mine. I don't know which one it is. Nala, I'm recording. Can you calm down? I thought about in another video, but I just did not. I'm 50% of the way through, 57% of the way through. We switched where we're in a different kingdom from our original FMC, where our FMC was originally at. We switch it, and she's in a completely different place. And I thought, oh, this has potential to get so much better. It became even more of a dumpster fire. I feel like I have talked about this book in the garbage so badly, I need to stop. After this video, you will no longer hear my hatred. Yes, it's a deep hatred, and I don't mean that lightly because I don't hate a lot of things, but I hated this book. And it's the last you hear me speak about it until we do my best and worst of the year. Moving on to bigger and brighter things, we have my biggest surprise of the year, which has been A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. I am not a mystery thriller type of person. I could have done two books for this one. I could have done this one or The Housemaid, but I decided to go with this one because this was my first foray into the mystery thriller genre before I got into The Housemaid. And then I read Then She Was Gone. I forayed into the mystery thriller genre now. And I will be staying there in the mystery thriller genre. But this is what really introduced me to it because I have read a lot of YA mystery thrillers, but I've never read adult mystery thrillers. And YA was fun because I'm still a young adult myself. I'm only 22. I just turned 22, and I started the Natural series when I was 17 myself. So those still hit home for me. But then I read this, and I fell in love with it. I did not know how I was going to like this. I solely picked this up because I've seen Cassandra from Cassandra Lynn Reads with a Cass. She's read this. I've also seen Katie from Katie is read this. And I also saw Mel from Mel Reads read this. And she actually read the sequel recently. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read it and see what it's about because there's also a subplot romance going on there. And I was quite surprised by how much I liked this. I devoured this book in 3 to 4 days just purely because of how much I enjoyed it. This is set in the 1800s, 1880s London. So these characters are a little bit pretentious, not lie, not like I can't lie to you. They're high class 1880s, and it's just so good. We're following Veronica Speedwell as her final and last aunt passes away, and she is deciding to move on with her life when there is a kidnapping attempt and someone tries to kidnap her. But right, Duke comes and saves the day. I don't know if it was a Duke or not. It doesn't say in the. I think it was a Duke. I don't remember what it was. This mysterious man saves her. Come with me. I have some things I need to tell you about where you really come from, who your parents were, and everything like that. But before any of that can happen, he gives her to his dear friend Stoker, and then he is sadly murdered. So now they have to solve the mystery of his murder and figure out what he was planning to tell her. And when you find out, I was so shocked. I did not see it coming. There was one plot twist I saw, and that was it. I don't go into these looking to solve a plot twist. Now, if it's eerily just in my face, obviously I'm gonna know. You're telling me what it is. Please don't do that. I'm kind of liking it, but this one, not a chance. I definitely recommend it. I obviously have book 2 here ready for me to read, and I'm actually gonna read it in my continuing series vlog that I'm recording this week. So that will be coming your way in the next continuing series vlog that I have. The next book I have is one, it says a book that made you cry. I have two answers for this. The honorable mention is Insatiable by Lee Rivers. I'm not going to talk about the book too much now because I'm actually using it for another question, but that is an honorable mention. The actual book that I used for this one was Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I just needed to get this somewhere in the video because I have to talk about this book once again because I loved it so much. This is a 5 stars. It's not my best book, obviously. It could have been my best sequel, but then I was like, no, it made me cry. So we're gonna use it for this question because it did make me cry. Reading the end of this, reading the way I have somehow magically flipped to where it made me cry is insane. This making me cry. It sure did. It sure did. And if you've read this, why? And if you didn't cry during this part, maybe you're a little heartless. Not actually, maybe that's not an easy crier. I don't know why I cried. Maybe it's because I know why I cried. I have an emotional attachment to these characters. I'm fully aware that I do. So having to experience what Cassie experienced in this book, specifically at the point in the book that she experiences it at, is incredible. It's heartbreaking. I could not. And then we go on to discover something about another character. Yeah, I'm so excited for Dangerous Impulses later this year because I need more from this world. I recently read The Inheritance Games and I realized that I do not connect to those characters the way I connect to these characters. And that's a little disappointing, but I digress nonetheless. This book made me cry. I remember crying when I was reading it in my reading vlog, my first continuing series vlog that I did this year in January. This was literally in that video, and I cried. So if you would like to go watch that video, I can leave it linked down below for you because I did cry. And I cried just now reading that scene. So I think it's just me being sad that Cassie had to go through what she went through in this book to reach the ending that we got, that Cassie had to do what she did. I'm trying not to spoil too much because it's the end of a series and I don't want to say too much, but Cassie having to do what she did really got me. The next question is a book that made you happy. And this whole series has made me happy. I have been loving it. I actually would like to buy more volumes to have on my shelf to just flip through whenever I want, especially because I recently read Volume 9, and that one just had me all giddy for our characters, and that is The Son of Affection. I have been loving this manga series. I'm almost caught up, which makes me incredibly sad. So I do need to find a place where I can read the chapters online because I don't know what I would do without these characters. I don't know what I would do without Yuki and Itsumi and all their friends. It just this makes me so incredibly happy. I did not know what to expect when I was going into this. I had just seen a couple of people read this and be like, it's actually really good. More so, Katie is reading and Mel from Mel reads. I've seen both of them read this and absolutely adore it. And I was like, I want a cute, fluffy romance manga to read as I dive into some deeper, darker stuff because I am planning to continue my Attack on Titan reread to finish that off, and I'm currently reading One Piece, and I know that kind of gets darker at some points. So this was like my light and fluffy read, and honestly, this was so good as I previously mentioned, and I cannot believe how much I have loved this whole thing. I think nearly every volume has been 5 stars for me. The first couple were 4.5, but since volume 4 or 5, I have been rating them 5 stars consistently. I just love them so much. Seeing how far they have come since this first volume, even though it is a little bit of insta love, I still love the way they care for each other and just all of it. This is following our deaf student Yuki, who meets a guy on a train and they fall in love. That's literally all it is. And like I said, it is very much insta love, but I don't mind it in a manga because I still really like this. So go read it. Here, take it to the screen. It'll make you happy. And surely made me happy. Every single volume that I have read of it so far. Yes. What do you like? Now go sit with your sister. Sit. The next question is newest fictional crush. And as I mentioned, my honorable mention for a book that made me cry. Here, when we actually talk about that book, is Insatiable by Lee Rivers. Tobias and Kane Mitchell, that father and son duo. Although we do not get much of Tobias in here because he is locked up and the mental institute that he is in, or prison he's in, or whatever. I don't know whether it's a mental institute or it's a prison. I think it's more so a mental institute. Even though we don't get much of him in here, the bit that we do get of him, give me more! Sorry, I just got really loud, but I literally made a TikTok when I was reading this, and I posted here about how I wanted both at the same time. Both. BOAF. You know that TikTok video? That one. That's what I pictured Tobias and Kate. It's the way that Kate is maybe just as crazy as his own freaking father. This is another book that I tabbed fully all the way through from beginning to end without knowing anything about it. I just knew going into it that I needed to be tabbed in it because of how much pain or whatever this was going to bring me. This didn't bring me much pain, although I did cry during it. I was more so focused on the fact that even though Cade had 5 roles he stuck by to avoid Stacy, that man is still heavily obsessed with that woman, and seeing how down bad he was for her in the past. I want more Tobias. I want more Cade. I am putting off reading book 2 because that's gonna hurt, but I will probably be reading it in a vlog soon. And let's just say Pan Tobias. That's literally all I have to say. Pan Tobias. Oh, this so The next question is newest favorite character, and this hands down goes to Millie Calloway. This is the third book in the Housemaid series. I actually have it currently because I'm gonna attempt to read it in my continuing series vlog because it's the last book in the Housemaid series I need to read besides the novella. I still am undecided. I'm up in the air if I want to read novella or not. I may not read, depends on how I'm feeling. But it's the last book in the series, and I have a feeling that I know how this is going to go. I'm not quite sure. It could end in a different way than I'm expecting it to, but we'll see. But I have a feeling I know how this is going to end, and I'm a little scared, but also really excited to see how it actually ends and how we conclude the story in general. But Millie Calloway is absolutely batshit insane. This woman is crazy in her own way, and you know what? I like it. I listen. I am all for women's wrongs. And this woman is wrong in so many different ways that I have a feeling that she's going to meet her match in this one. I read a synopsis of this one. I don't normally read synopsis, but these books, so I'm already into the book. I'm already 100 or so pages into the book, but I did read a synopsis of this one, and I feel like she is going to meet her match in this one. Like I said, I have a feeling I know how this ends, and if it does end that way, I won't be shocked. But Millie Calloway, I'm kind of obsessed with her. I'm kind of low-key in love with her. She's actually insane in her own psychotic way. And you know what? Go girl. The next question is newest release you haven't read yet. And I actually have two books from this one. One is from earlier this year, and then one of them is from 2 months ago. The earliest one is Have City by Kate Golden. I never read the Sacred Stones trilogy by Kate Golden. Is that before I say that with my full heart, although it's too late for that, it doesn't say. Yes, Sacred Stones trilogy. I never read Sacred Stones trilogy, although I do really want to read that. I have heard such phenomenal things about this one in particular. I have heard it compared to the Mortal Instruments, Buffy the Vampire Diaries, just like some 2000s esque stuff that I have heard of, slash read, slash watched. Because I have watched the Vampire Diaries, I have read a bit of the Mortal Instruments series, so I have such high hopes for this one. I also know that book two, Curse City, does come out later this year. That is on my anticipated releases list. So I'm really gonna get around to reading this. Maybe I can read it in the vlog. Read both of these books, honestly, in a vlog together of reading my most anticipated sequels, releases, something along those lines, or just reading anticipated releases. We'll see what happens. I do know that I really get around to this one. I know pretty much about it. I think we're going to a demon school or a demon hunting school. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I go into my books pretty blind. If this is your first video you're seeing, I go into books knowing 2% to absolutely nothing about a book, and that is no different for Ab City. I don't really know what this is about. I did read the first chapter a few months ago, but I don't remember what it was about. The most recent sequel to go along with Half City is Furybound by Sable Sorensen. No, I have not read this. Was Firebound my second favorite book of 2025? Have I thought about that book consistently since reading it? Did I give it 5 stars, 6 stars because of how good it was? Yes, and I have yet to read this one. Not because I don't want to read it, but because I'm scared of reading it and it letting me down. Do you know how many sequels I have read where the second book has heavily let me down? There haven't been that many, but there have been a few. And those few just I'm specifically looking at Season Storm. When I say that, I'm thinking about Season Storm when I say that about a book because it just let me down. I'm also looking at A Kingdom is Cursed and Empty because that also kind of let me down after reading book one. I was so excited to go into it and I just did not. I digress. I still really need to get to this. It's a beautiful book. The edges and everything are so stunning, but I'm scared. Plus, also, this is probably gonna leave off on a cliffhanger, and I won't know until book three comes out how we fix that cliffhanger. Just like we're left on a cliffhanger for book one, and I don't know how we resolve it. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and this also hands down easy to think about when I think about sequels. Captive Trader King which is the second book following Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kimmerer. This is the second book in this series. I don't know whether it's going to be a trilogy or what, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be a trilogy because I believe all of Bridget Kimmerer series are trilogies. And so I am super excited to see where this one goes because in the first book, we focused a lot on the romance and building up the plot to what it's actually going to be and what's actually going to happen going into book two, especially the last couple chapters of book one. We really focused on the actual plot of what it's going to be. So, we are going to deep dive into that for book two, and this is literally, besides Dangerous Impulses, which I'm absolutely so super excited about, this one tops that strictly for the fact that I'm ready for more plot to take place. I'm ready to see our characters in action, especially Asher. I'm ready to see baby Asher in the flesh and see him at its finest. I'm also just scared for this book because there are so many things that could possibly go wrong with this one that I don't know what's going to happen. It makes me a little frightened, a little scared. I'm a wuss. Leave me alone. The next question is most beautiful book you've bought slash received this year, and I have not bought slash received that many books. And honestly, I could technically go for Butcher and Blackbird, this collector's edition, but I did not because it's technically not mine. Technically it is, but also it isn't. Me and my best friend are sharing it. But look at this. Do y'all see this? The edges, the shimmery edges, the reversible dust jacket with all the triggers on it, and then just the foiling on the actual dust jacket. This is stunning. So I could have chosen this as well. I guess we'll have two answers because this is also really, really stunning. I have yet to read this book. I do have the audiobook available to me right now on Audible. I have the most basic subscription where I pick a monthly pick every month. I'm not paying for Audible. That's just not. I refuse to do it. I pay for an Everend subscription. Everend, I'm not buying into Amazon. I just pick a monthly audiobook, and this is the audiobook I chose for my monthly audiobook. I pay for Everend, 30 credits a month, because I listen to 3 to 4 audiobooks a month with Libby. So audio having Everend and Libby combined is having plenty of audiobooks with. But I digress. We're gonna put this one on the list. It wasn't originally on the list for prettiest book I've bought since received. My best friend actually bought this for me for my birthday. So I actually really liked it. This is really pretty. I can't wait to read it. I'm gonna read it soon. And by soon, I'm gonna start it tonight, so that way when I go to work tomorrow, my coworker asks me about it, I can be like, yes, I've started it. Leave me alone. The other response to this question, because I've already used Fury Bound and I have yet to read it, so I don't know what or in it means, Dire Bound, because this is one of the most stunning books I have ever owned in my life. I don't own a lot. I don't buy a lot of special editions, but let's take a moment for her. If you don't want to see slight spoilers in this art, don't look at this, but and then the foiling again on the cover. Stunning. I love Direbound. I was so happy when they said they were coming out with a collector's edition. So I will probably be owning 2 copies of every book, the paperback and the pretty editions to portray on my shelves. So when I get my IKEA Billy bookshelves, these will be displayed front and center on a middle shelf somewhere to be seen in the back of my videos every time I record or when I'm filming B-roll. These will be seen because they're stunning. Placing them side by side together. I'm really hoping book 3 isn't green. If it's green, I'm suing somebody. But I feel like they would go green. And if it is green, like I said, I will be suing. I would prefer like a purple or something. I don't know, but not green. But stunning. Both of them. They're kind of the same colorway of the pinks. And then the last but not least question for the mini book out tag. With your book freakout tag is books you need to read by the end of the year. And that's all of them that I have here that I have not read, all the ones on my Goodreads shelf, all the ones I have video plans for, all of them. But I have actually narrowed it down to 5, which quite literally shocked me. The first 2 is one. I'm counting as one because they're in the same series. That is the Dragon Republic, which I own, and the Burning God, which is the last two books in the Poppy War trilogy. I have plans to do these in a reading vlog for both of them, so you will see my vlog, so you can see my full reactions to both and me sobbing more than likely to both. Next one is Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph White. This is his last YA one that he has. I think the next the one he had that came out last year, You Weren't Meant to Be Human, I think it was, is definitely adult. And then I think the next one he has is coming out later this year is also adult. So Compound Fracture is his last YA horror-esque book. He writes horror, trans horror books that touch on real life like things. So I've read his other two, which are How Followed With Us and The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. And then Compound Fracture kind of fits the theme, the structure of these two, in color on cover. So that will be my last YA book by him. And then I have the adult books to catch up on. So I really want to purchase Compound Fracture and read that soon. Because it's gonna be 5 stars. If it's not 5 stars, I will be shocked. Next up, we have The City of Brass. I'm actually thinking about borrowing this from Everend soon and reading it. I'm in the mood for an epic fantasy book. I love a good YA. Don't get me wrong, YA. I love a good romantasy slash YA fantasy book, but I'm in the mood for an adult, fully head has to be full of everything to read the book. Not full of everything, but I have to be tuned into the book. I'm ready for that. I want that. And I know that Your Bride is really good. It's about 22 and 26. So this is a really good contender to read because I've heard such good things about it, actively want to read it. And I don't know, it's been calling my name. This one and Mistborn have been calling my name off the shelves lately. So both of them will probably be seen in a wrap up coming your way soon. I feel like I couldn't talk about what book I need to read by the end of the year without talking about this book, Fallen Stars by Imani Ariu. This is a sequel to Heavenly Bodies. Although book 3 was pushed back to next year in March, I still want to read this. I still want to be able to say that I am caught up with the series and be ready for when book 3 comes out next year, although I'll probably reread Heavenly Bodies and Fallen Stars before the release of book 3. If not both, at least Heavenly Bodies, maybe, or just Fallen Stars, whichever one I feel like I'm in the mood to reread at the time. So this has to be on the list because it just makes sense. I also need to fully tap this book. I need to know what happens with Laura, Ariai, and everybody else in this book. And so all of it needs to come to me. And last but not least, on this list of 5, we have Strange the Dreamer, another one that's been calling my name off the shelves that I'm thinking of just borrowing from Everett audiobook and immersive reading this one. I love a good immersive read. I have discovered that this year. Definitely recommended. So I definitely want to get to this one. This is another one that's actually on my 26 and 26. I didn't make a day in that because I haven't really done that. I did talk about that previously in my first video of July. Literally went up July 1st, I believe. But yeah, this is definitely like to get to in the near future. And by near future, I'm next like or two. I don't know. But it's definitely on the list for stuff I need to get to by the end of the year. And with that being said, besties, that is my mid-year book freakout tag. We talked about a lot of books here. We really did a lot of yapping. So when I go to cut down this video, I will have a lot to cut out as we go along. But I digress nonetheless. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I love filming this tag. I've only filmed it once before, a really long time ago. That video is no longer up. I took down anything prior to 2025. All of that has been deleted off the channel. I still have some of those videos that exist in my camera roll, but some of them I do not have. So I don't even remember my answers or what I answered. Like, even that video looks like from like 3 years ago when I was on BookTube more consistently, like I am now. But I digress. I hope you enjoyed me yapping about books. Hopefully we agree or disagree on some of these. I promise this is the last time you will hear me rant and rave about how terribly bad. And hopefully this will not be this last time. I'll talk about some of these books as we wrap up the end of the year in 5 months time. With that being said, I will see you guys in my next video, which will be a series catch up video that I'm recording, I think Tuesday night for you guys. So with that being said, I hope you have a great day, evening, night, morning, afternoon, and whatever part of the world you're having it. And down below will be my link tree with all of my links for you to check out my Instagram, Goodreads, Fable, TikTok, all of that for you to go look at if you would like. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!